Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive revelations that will rock Port Charles to its core during the week of November 24th to 28th, 2025. These 5 days promise to deliver unprecedented drama as long-buried secrets claw their way to the surface, leaving devastation in their wake. The intricate web of lies that has been carefully woven throughout the fall season begins to unravel at breakneck speed, with consequences that will reverberate through every corner of the city. From the boardrooms of Corinthos Enterprises to the sacred halls of General Hospital itself, no one will emerge unscathed from the revelations that threaten to shatter alliances and destroy lives. The tension has been building like a pressure cooker for weeks, and now the lid is about to blow off in spectacular fashion. Michael Corinthos stands at the epicenter of this maelstrom, his world teetering on the brink of collapse as he confronts the devastating truth about Jacinda Bracken's deception. For weeks, Michael had placed his faith in Jacinda's seemingly airtight alibi, believing her assertions that she was nowhere near the warehouse district on that fateful night when Drew Kane's life hung in the balance. He had approached her with desperate pleas, his voice thick with urgency as he begged her to reconsider, to search her memory for any chink in her defensive armor that might expose the real perpetrator. Jacinda had remained steadfast, her eyes meeting his with unwavering conviction as she swore upon everything sacred that her story was unshakable and impregnable. She had woven a tapestry of half-truths and carefully constructed falsehoods, never counting on the loose lips of a man drowning his sorrows in cheap whiskey at the Floating Rib. Ezra Boyle, a minor player in Port Charles' underworld with a penchant for self-destructs, had been drinking himself into oblivion when Harrison Chase happened upon him during a routine patrol. In his inebriated state, Ezra's tongue loosened like a floodgate, spilling secrets he should have taken to his grave, including the bombshell revelation that he had shared an intimate encounter with Jacinda in a seedy motel room on the precise night Drew Kane's blood stained the pavement. The domino effect of Ezra's drunken confession sets off a chain reaction that races through the streets of Port Charles faster than wildfire. Chase, recognizing the magnitude of what he had just heard, immediately springs into action, his detective instincts kicking into overdrive as he races against time to verify Ezra's claims and get this critical intelligence into the hands of someone who can act upon it. His efforts bear fruit when the information lands directly on Michael's desk, delivered with the weight of irrefutable evidence that shatters the foundation of trust Michael had begun to build with Jacinda. The realization hits Michael like a physical blow, his breath catching in his throat as the full scope of Jacinda's betrayal becomes crystal clear. Her alibi, once seemingly made of titanium, now lies in fragments around his feet, blown to smithereens by the truth. Michael's fury erupts like a volcano, his normally controlled demeanor crumbling as he confronts Jacinda with the white-hot intensity of a man who has been played for a fool. The confrontation is volcanic, his words sharp as daggers as he lets her know exactly how he feels about being manipulated and deceived. The question now hangs heavy in the air like a guillotine blade. Does this catastrophic revelation signal the premature death of whatever was blooming between Michael and Jacinda before their relationship could even fully take root? The romantic possibilities that had begun to spark fade to ash as trust evaporates, leaving behind only the bitter taste of betrayal and the looming threat of legal consequences. Alexis Davis, ever the strategic mastermind when it comes to legal warfare, has been meticulously crafting her entire defense strategy around a single brilliant but risky premise: create reasonable doubt by redirecting the investigative spotlight onto other potential suspects. Her client, Willow Tate, faces charges that could destroy her family and separate her from her children, leaving Alexis no choice but to pull every trick from her considerable arsenal. The plan involves systematically dismantling the prosecution's case by introducing alternative theories that plant seeds of doubt in the jury's mind. With Michael now becoming a person of interest thanks to Jacinda's imploding alibi, Alexis sees a golden opportunity to execute her plan with surgical precision. She can now point to Michael's own potential involvement, his relationship with Jacinda, and his access to the crime scene as elements that create a plausible alternative narrative. But Alexis doesn't stop there. She casts her net wider, ensnaring Portia Robinson in her web of suspicion as well. Portia, completely oblivious to the legal crosshairs now trained on her back, had lied about her whereabouts that night for reasons that had nothing to do with Drew Kane's shooting. Her deception stemmed from a clandestine rendezvous with Isaiah Gannon, a relationship she desperately wanted to keep hidden from prying eyes. The complication deepens when Stella Henry, whose investigative instincts have been honed by decades of experience in Port Charles, becomes privy to information that sets her blood boiling. Stella's outrage isn't born from mere gossip. It erupts from concrete evidence that she stumbles upon, perhaps catching Portia and Isaiah in a compromising position at the wrong place and wrong time. Does Stella witness the two doctors sharing an intimate moment in a secluded corner of the hospital, or perhaps spot them entering a hotel together when they believe no one is watching? This discovery transforms Stella from a concerned family member into a potential witness whose testimony could destroy Portia's credibility. The ramifications cascade like a waterfall, creating a situation where Portia finds herself drowning in problems she never saw coming. Her carefully constructed world begins to crumble as she must now contend not only with the exposure of her secret affair, but also with the possibility that Alexis Davis has identified her as a prime suspect in the Drew Kane shooting. The walls close in from all sides, leaving Portia trapped in a nightmare of her own making, where one lie begets another and the truth threatens to destroy everything she holds dear. Amidst this chaos, Willow Tate finds a beacon of hope in the unwavering support of Elizabeth Baldwin, who stands as a pillar of strength when everything seems darkest. Liz's loyalty to her friend transcends the swirling accusations and mounting evidence, compelling her to go to extraordinary lengths to defend Willow's innocence. She dives into the investigation headfirst, using her connections at the hospital and her intimate knowledge of Port Charles power structures to uncover exculpatory evidence. Liz might dig into medical records, interview potential witnesses who can verify Willow's alibi, or even confront powerful adversaries who are framing her friend. She becomes Willow's champion, a warrior in scrubs who battles against the tide of public opinion and legal maneuvering. But the question looms large over her heroic efforts. Will her dedication and sleuthing actually bear fruit? Or will the forces aligned against Willow prove too powerful even for Elizabeth's considerable resources? The odds seem insurmountable as the prosecution builds its case, yet Liz refuses to back down, her determination fueled by the bond of friendship and her belief in Willow's fundamental goodness. The ripple effects of these main storylines create tsunamis throughout the rest of Port Charles, touching lives in unexpected and dramatic ways. Jason Morgan, caught between his loyalty to Sonny and his growing connection to Britt Westburn, finds himself in the difficult position of trying to convince Britt that she can place her trust in him. His efforts are complicated by the fact that he recently completed a dangerous assignment for Sonny Corinthos, a mission that required him to operate in the shadows and engage in activities that blur the line between right and wrong. Sonny himself is busy issuing stern warnings to Laura Collins, pressing her to adhere strictly to their agreed-upon plan, a scheme that likely involves political maneuvering and power plays that could reshape the landscape of Port Charles. The nature of their alliance remains shrouded in mystery, but the intensity of Sonny's warning suggests high stakes and potentially devastating consequences if Laura deviates from their script. Meanwhile, young love faces its own crucible as Jocelyn Jacks and Vaughn discover themselves in grave peril when the ever-perceptive Jack Brennan uncovers their secret romance. Brennan's discovery isn't just a minor inconvenience. It thrusts the young couple into a dangerous situation where their safety and future hang in the balance. Jack Brennan's reaction is swift and severe, his protective instincts transforming into a formidable threat that could separate Jocelyn and Vaughn forever. As if the week weren't packed enough with earth-shattering developments, Chase and Brooklyn Quartermain receive news so stunning that it leaves them both speechless, their minds reeling as they struggle to process the implications. This revelation could potentially connect to the mysterious Joe Palmieri, whose presence in Port Charles has been a source of speculation and intrigue. Perhaps Joe holds a secret that impacts either Chase's position at the police department or Brooklyn's music career. Or maybe he is the key witness who can exonerate Willow while implicating someone else entirely. The possibilities are endless, and the truth promises to be more shocking than anyone anticipates. The week builds toward a crescendo of revelations, confrontations, and life-altering decisions that will leave viewers breathless. Every storyline intersects and overlaps, creating a complex tapestry of human drama where loyalty is tested, love is threatened, and justice hangs in the balance. Next, we will dive deep into the labyrinthine mystery surrounding Nathan West's inexplicable resurrection and his suspiciously timed appearance at Laura Collins' roadside nightmare. The canvas of Port Charles is painted with deception, and every brushstroke suggests that this deputy's return from the dead carries darker implications than anyone at the PCPD seems willing to acknowledge. While the department rushes to restore his badge and gun with unsettling haste, seasoned viewers know that in this city, miracles often wear the mask of malevolence, and convenient amnesia frequently serves as the perfect alibi for calculated manipulation. The shocking sequence of events began when Laura Collins, the newly emboldened mayor, fresh from her electoral victory, found herself stranded on a desolate stretch of road with a blown tire that seemed almost cosmically orchestrated to coincide with her most vulnerable moment. As she wrestled with the jack and the weight of her political future, Laura stumbled upon a horror that would shatter the facade of normalcy in Port Charles, a discovery that would bind her fate to the city's most dangerous players. The lifeless body of Professor Henry Hank Dalton, tucked away in her trunk like a macabre souvenir, represented not merely a murder victim, but a chess piece in a game whose rules remain deliberately obscured from those caught in its web. The sheer audacity of placing a corpse in the mayor's vehicle suggests a perpetrator with either supreme confidence or intimate knowledge of her schedule, movements, and potential vulnerabilities. When Laura's trembling fingers dialed through her contacts, seeking sanctuary from the nightmare unfolding around her, the cosmic dice of Port Charles landed with predictable yet chilling precision on Sonny Corinthos as her sole responder. This wasn't mere coincidence, it was the kind of orchestrated happenstance that defines criminal machinations in this city, where every connection threads back to the underground empire Sonny, built with blood and betrayal. Their meeting at the roadside transformed a simple crime scene into a convergence of power, where the mayor's need for desperate solutions collided with the mob boss's inexplicable availability. The shadows lengthened around them, and in those gathering darknesses, Deputy Nathan West materialized like a phantom summoned by the city's darkest forces. His timing so impeccable that it defies the logic of random patrol duty. Nathan's arrival at the scene raises alarms that the PCPD appears determined to silence rather than investigate. This is the same Nathan West who vanished for 7 years, swallowed by an abyss of mystery that left his loved ones grieving, his career in ashes, and his sister Britt Westburn entangled in their father's final, terrifying legacy. Now he stands before them with a badge and weaponry, professing complete ignorance of his lost years while somehow retaining the procedural knowledge to function as law enforcement. The department's willingness to accept this narrative without intensive psychiatric evaluation, without polygraph examination, without so much as a cursory investigation into where he's been, represents either staggering incompetence or complicit corruption at levels that would make even the most jaded Port Charles resident blanch. His memory loss behaves less like genuine trauma-induced amnesia and more like a selective filter designed to obscure specific alliances while maintaining operational capability. The whispers throughout Port Charles connect Nathan's resurrection directly to the machinations of Jen Sidwell, the enigmatic figure whose presence in the city coincides with a surge in orchestrated chaos. Sidwell didn't arrive to retire quietly, he came to execute a plan, and Nathan West might be his most valuable asset disguised as a damaged hero. During that fateful November 21st episode, viewers witnessed the seamless integration of Nathan into crisis situations that served Sidwell's interests. Each appearance calculated to establish credibility while advancing an agenda that remains maddeningly opaque. The PCPD's failure to question why Nathan materialized precisely when Laura's discovery threatened to expose certain truths suggests a department compromised by either blind loyalty or deliberate infiltration. Every moment Nathan spends in that uniform, every crime scene he accesses, every confidential file he glimpses represents a potential intelligence leak straight to Sidwell's operation. The conspiracy theories darkening Port Charles discourse center on the specter of Caesar Phazon, the legendary villain whose shadow continues to strangle the city even from beyond the grave. Could Nathan's personality have been overwritten, his memories replaced with his father's twisted consciousness through some experimental procedure? Britt Westburn's recent erratic behavior and cryptic warnings suggest she senses their father's malevolent presence not as a ghost, but as a digital or psychological imprint living within her brother. When Nathan's eyes glaze over with unsettling familiarity during moments of stress, when his tactical decisions mirror Phazon's cruel efficiency, the possibility emerges that this isn't Nathan at all, but a vessel carrying the distilled evil of a father who always desired immortality. The technology to transfer consciousness, while sounding like science fiction, falls perfectly within the realm of possibilities established by the Casadini family's legacy of defying death itself. Pascal, Sidwell's ever-present butler, cannot simultaneously manage his employer's estate and coordinate field operations, creating a tactical vacuum that Nathan fills with disturbing perfection. The logistics of moving Dalton's body into Laura's trunk required surveillance of her movements, access to her vehicle, and the physical capability to transport a corpse, all elements within a deputy's reach. Nathan's departure after Sonny's arrival might appear as routine procedure, but it more likely represents a carefully choreographed exit designed to avoid deeper questioning while leaving maximum psychological impact. If the objective was to terrify Laura, to remind her that even mayoral power cannot protect against the city's underworld, then Nathan's brief, chilling presence accomplished that mission with surgical precision. The mascara streaking down her face became war paint in a conflict she didn't realize she'd been drafted into. The timeline of Nathan's appearances correlates suspiciously with moments when Sidwell's interests face exposure. His patrol routes, supposedly random, consistently place him at the periphery of incidents involving key power players near Carlisle's business dealings, adjacent to Drew's investigations. Within sight of Anna's surveillance operations, this pattern suggests not a beat cop, but a mobile observer, feeding real-time intelligence to a master who trades in secrets. The PCPD's database, accessible to any sworn officer, contains every criminal file, every witness protection location, every ongoing investigation in Port Charles. Nathan's access to this information treasure trove, while potentially compromised, represents a security breach of catastrophic proportions that Commissioner Scorpio would normally investigate with lethal seriousness. Yet curiously, the department's oversight remains blind to this glaring vulnerability. Britt Westburn's knowledge of her father's final project, combined with her medical expertise, positions her as either Nathan's potential savior or his unwitting accomplice. Her desperate attempts to reach him, her warnings to stay away from certain parts of the city, her tearful confession to Liesel about something terrible awakening, all point to a woman who understands the mechanism of her brother's return, but fears the consequences of exposing it. The sibling bond, once their greatest strength, now serves as a potential weakness that Phazon, whether literally or figuratively inhabiting Nathan, could exploit to neutralize Britt as a threat. Their shared genetic material might be the key that unlocks the programming buried deep in Nathan's subconscious, a biological backdoor that makes him susceptible to commands encoded at the DNA level by their father's mad science. As Port Charles careens toward its next crisis, the election night horror serves merely as prologue to a saga that threatens to consume everyone from the mayor's office to the docks controlled by Corinthos Coffee. Laura's political honeymoon has been poisoned by a corpse, Sonny's protectiveness has been activated in ways that serve his enemy's timeline, and Nathan's badge has become a license to manipulate the justice system itself. The dramarama, as reliably teased by red-hot spoilers, will escalate as bodies accumulate and alliances fracture under the weight of deception. Every character who encountered Nathan during his missing years becomes a potential witness. Every location he claims to have forgotten becomes a clue. And every second the PCPD fails to properly vet him represents another victory for the forces plotting against Port Charles. The psychological warfare extends beyond simple murder and frame jobs into the realm of identity itself. When citizens can no longer trust that their protectors are who they claim to be, when amnesia becomes a get-out-of-jail-free card for suspicious behavior, the fabric of civic order unravels. Laura's mascara-stained face symbolizes more than shock. It represents the smearing of truth in a city where reality bends to the will of those with the resources to rewrite it. Sonny's involvement, while seemingly heroic, also positions him perfectly to take the fall if the Dalton murder requires a high-profile scapegoat. Nathan's convenient memory lapse could be the thread that, when pulled, unravels not just one conspiracy, but the entire tapestry of power in Port Charles, revealing the ugly truth that some of their most trusted guardians have become their most dangerous threats.